Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I'm going to be unboxing the latest expansion to the D&D Dungeon Mayhem game. This is Dungeon Mayhem Monster Madness. This is the third overall set to come out for the game if you include the base rules. So in addition to this set, we have the expansion pack, Battle for Baldur's Gate, which introduces Minsc and Jaheira, the druid. And then we have our base game, which includes a ranger, or not a ranger, it includes a barbarian, wizard, paladin, and rogue or thief character. So I'm actually really looking forward to this one here because it's all different monsters, and the box is absolutely massive, which if you saw the video where I opened up the package that this came in, you would have seen that part of it already, but if you haven't, I'm going to go through everything here and sort of discuss it. For those who haven't played Dungeon Mayhem yet, it's a very quick, easy to play, easy to understand, really action-heavy multiplayer card game. You can play it one-on-one, which I've done a whole bunch, or you can have like large group battles or multiplayer fights and everything, and it usually only takes about 10 to 15 minutes. 15 minutes is one of those ones where everyone's being able to heal up and stuff like that, so but it's a really fun game, and it's so easy to pick up. Actually, it's listed as ages 8+, and my 11-year-old daughter absolutely loves the game, so it's just a really great game. If you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend picking it up because it is a ton of fun. So today, I'm going to be opening up the package here, the giant box that it came in, and we will see exactly what we have here. So we've got different monsters, of course, that are available for play. So the other ones are all based off of player characters. There are 6 of them. And now we have 6 monsters that you can play. They include a gelatinous cube, an owlbear, a mimic, red dragon, mind flare, and a fancy princess beholder. As I mentioned before, the beholder in particular reminds me of an old April Fool's edition of Dragon magazine, which had this guy sort of like proposing, or he was down on his knee, I think he was giving flowers to this pink beholder with like lipstick on and everything, and I think it even had eyelashes. It was absolutely hilarious. So it's kind of cool to see. Again, I don't think this is a direct reference, but it is still cool to see nonetheless that, something that reminds me of one of those old magazine issues. So really cool stuff there. So that's what's on the front. On the sides, we have some different artwork here. So on the short sides, we have what looks like the same art that we had on the front here. So we got the beholder, the gelatinous cube, and he's adorable. And then you got the mimic, and then you have the mind flare, owlbear with a party hat on, and a very fancy Victorian-looking red dragon. Now, on the tops and bottoms, we actually have different artwork, and this is probably stuff that's from the cards themselves, but we have the beholder shooting some eye rays. You have the gelatinous cube. It looks like a gnome that was absorbed into it is popping out to attack with a slingshot, and that's hilarious. Then you have the mimic posing as a potted plant, the mind flare again, and it looks like our party hat wearing owlbear is also a graduate of either high school or college, and the red dragon hiding behind his hoard. And then on the top part here, I think I showed this one previously, but you have, again, the mind flare. Looks like our owlbear is eating some peanuts. The red dragon beholder wearing sunglasses. I kind of wish that the one covering her central eye was just one big lens and not the two, but still, that's fine. You have a bunch of skulls in what looks like a very evil and devilish looking gelatinous cube, and of course you have the mimic posing as an apple pie. On the back, it says it's time for Monsters and Mayhem. In the Dungeon Mayhem Monster Madness, you play as one of 6 epic D&D monsters, each with their own way to charm, crush, disintegrate, and devour their foes. Pit these cunning creatures against any other Dungeon Mayhem deck and store all of your cards in this monster-sized box. Then select your favorite and prepare for mayhem. So this is designed to carry everything that's been released to date, which is great because this is a pretty massive box. The contents include 6 28-card decks, so a 28-card deck for each of the monstrous characters, a hit point tracker for each of them, and a reference card for each of them, 12 damage tokens, 12 divider cards, 12 hit point tokens, and then we have 1 rule sheet, 1 token storage box, and there are 6 player rule sets included as well. So, without further ado, let's just go ahead and open this up. I'm not going to go through all of the decks in this particular video, but if there's interest, what I might do is showcase the cards in separate videos. Just if you want to see every single one that they do. I think the most important thing really is what their special abilities are, because each character has their own unique special abilities, and then pretty much every deck has some variant of cards that deal 1 damage that also let you do another action. So they'll have a sword symbol and a lightning bolt. There's usually cards that will let you do 2 damage and then 3 damage. There's ones that will let you draw cards, 1 or 2 cards. There's ones that will give you a shield and draw a card. There's one that will give you 2 shields. So the overall structure of the cards is very similar, with the exception usually of just their special ability cards. So anyway, open this up, and so here we have the how to play information, and again, it is pretty basic. I'm pretty sure I covered this in a previous video, how to play, but essentially everyone starts off with 10 health, and then the cards do various things. So if you have like the sword symbols here, each time that appears on a card, it deals 1 damage. So for example, if you have a card that does 2 of those, it deals 2 damage. If you have a card that has the shield token, that stays in play. Normally you only get to play 1 card per turn, and then when your turn is over, you put the card that you play into the discard pile. The shield cards, the defense cards will stay, and for each symbol that we have here, it equals 1 point of damage that your shield can absorb. So if you have a card that has 2 of these symbols on it, and you take 1 damage from an attack, so one of these swords, then it absorbs that, and you still have 1 point of damage left that it can absorb before it is destroyed. There are some cards also out there that will just automatically destroy a shield card or destroy all shields, but that's generally how that works. The lightning bolt symbol allows you to play an additional card beyond just the one that you normally would. And as I said, most cards, or most decks, will have like cards that will deal 1 damage and let you play another card, or ones that will let you play 2 additional cards, or do something and draw a card, or play a card. So that's how that works. The draw card is sort of the green card back, or the green card symbol here with the plus sign on it. Again, for each one of those, you draw that number of cards. So you, like the wizard, for example, has ones that let him draw 3 cards, and it would have this symbol 3 times on it. Same thing with the hearts. So the healing, the pink heart with the plus symbol. For each one of those, you heal, and again, you have your other additional abilities that are unique to each character. So 5 to 6 player rules. So this is a little bit different. So when you're playing 1 to 4 players, or 2 to 4 players, I should say, you can simply target whoever you want, and once someone's knocked out, they're out of the game, and you go until everybody is eliminated except for 1. So the 5 to 6 player rules says, now that you have all these great new decks, you can play with up to 6 players. Set up the game as usual and add these 2 new rules to help run the game smoothly. Zone of Influence helps prevent players from getting picked on, which is actually kind of nice because I've noticed that happens a little bit. And Vengeful Ghost is great for keeping knocked out players involved. Okay, cool. Use them both in 5 to 6 player games. I don't think I've played 5 to 6 players. I think we've only been playing like 2 to 4. But Zone of Influence. So each player can only target the player either to their left or right with regular attack cards. Mighty power cards that you play can target any player, even if the mighty power references have like the sword symbols on them. So mighty powers are that affect all players still affect all players. When only 4 players remain, continue to use Zone of Influence. Be sure to play your full game with these rules. So basically, instead of just targeting whoever you want, you can only target the people that are like basically next to you, either directly to your right or directly to your left. And that's kind of cool. I actually kind of like that. So the mighty powers are the unique abilities to every character. So, for example, like the wizard has Fireball, which deals damage to everyone, or has the Vampiric Touch one, which allows him to switch his hit points with anyone that he chooses. So those are mighty powers. Those are the ones that are unique to that character, and nobody else has those abilities. So that's what a mighty power is. And regular attacks or things like that can only target the players on either side of you, which I actually kind of like, again, because I've seen, even in the 4-player games, and I've usually been on the receiving end of getting just ganged up on and being eliminated before I even get a chance to do anything. So this will hopefully alleviate that. And then Vengeful Ghost says when a player gets knocked out, they become a Vengeful Ghost. They no longer draw or play cards and cannot win. On each Vengeful Ghost turn, they can damage one of the players still in the game. This ignores Zone of Influence and cannot deal lethal damage. Ghost cannot target players with 1 hit point. So essentially, if you get knocked out and it's a 6-player game and you're the first person out, then on each of your turns you can just deal 1 damage to someone as long as they're not at 1 health. So again, that's kind of neat. I do like that. And that's just again, very simple, basic rule set, and it's a ton of fun. All right, so here we have what looks like our dividers. Oh wow, it's even, okay. So we have our dividers here, along with hit point trackers, like health tokens and damage tokens. So it actually gives you brand new damage tokens for all of the characters that have been previously released, which is kind of neat. Again, I like that little touch. So you got the divider here. So we have Delilah Death Ray, the Beholder, Blorp. I love Blorp. The Beholder is my favorite monster in D&D, but God, I love Blorp. He just looks so happy with the little gnome slowly dissolving away in him. So that's really cool. And then we've got the other characters here that are new to this set. So we have Lord Cinderpuff, our red dragon, Hoots Magoots, our owlbear, and I love the fact that you've got an owlbear getting ready to get shot out of a cannon. He must be a circus bear. But getting ready to get shot out of a cannon, looks super serious, and he's got a little helmet on. Dr. Tentacular. Okay, and the backs of the dividers actually show the backs of the characters. That is an insanely awesome touch that they definitely did not have to do. So that is awesome. That is a cool little attention to detail. And then we've got all the characters from the previous games. So we have our Barbarian, Wizard, Thief, Paladin, Minsk and Boo, and Jaheira. So that is really awesome. And then we've got our little box here for storing all of our hit point trackers, it looks like. So again, that's a really cool thing to have. And then just a little protective piece of cardboard there. And then we have our character decks here. So we've got 3 different bundles, which each one would have 2 sets of cards in them. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to cut away, and I'm going to actually set the box up with all the characters from the other sets, all included in this one box, so you can kind of see how that looks. Alright, so I have everything in the box here. So this includes the expansion, the original base game, and everything from this set itself. So I just put all the instructions things in with the box just so that they're all in one place. But we'll just sort of move that out of the way. And so here you can see we have all the cards in with all the different dividers, which is great. We've got this box here, which you use for all of the tokens. I don't know how well that's gonna show up, but you have the damage tokens for the shields and stuff like that, as well as the tokens for the hit point trackers. So those are all in this box, and I just included all of them from all the sets. I didn't include the hit point trackers from the original base game or the expansion, just because they provide you with those. So I didn't double up on those. For example, those tokens are in with the original boxes, but everything else is there because they give you those trackers in here as well, so I just went with that. I was just going to show off the Beholder and Blorp, but I'm actually going to go through and show all of the cards here. So we're just going to go we're just going to go from the back forward. So we're going to start with Mimi Lachaise, or Lachaise. Not quite sure how you pronounce this, but this is the Mimic character. So we've got, of course, their hit point tracker, which is they're going to be the same for all the cards. And then we have the breakdown of the card abilities. And they're just the same again for everything. So a shield card or shield symbol blocks 1 point of damage. The plus, the card symbol with the plus on it draws 1 card. The cross swords deals 1 damage. Lightning bolt allows you to play an extra card, and you got your hit point recovery there. And then we have our mighty powers. So mighty powers, the first one is sort of this like mirror symbol. I think it's a mirror. Anyway, it sort of looks like a mirror in like a dragon's mouth type of frame. And it says, play this card as a copy of any other shield card in play. So if you have an opponent that has like a shield card with 3 shields on it, for example, you can copy that. Now, you do have to play a card on every single turn. You don't have the option to pass. So if this is the last card in your hand and nobody has a shield card out, you still have to play it and nothing happens. And then you have this one here, looks like a tooth or a claw with the arrows pointing to left and right. And it says use the top tier listed mighty power of the player to your left or right. So that would be the one that's on the highest up of the mighty powers. So if someone was using it against this one, for example, they would have to go with this one here. And then we have the triangle pointing down with the word hit points and then an equal sign underneath. It says make one player's hit points equal to another player's hit points. So you can sort of change things around there, which is kind of interesting. If one person gets reduced to 1 hit point, you can play a card with that symbol on it and make somebody else's hit points equal to 1. So it's just kind of cool stuff there. So we're just going to go through and look at the cards. So again, you know what all the symbols do. So this first one is well-fitted hat. And we got 2 of those. And then we have a shield card that says not a mimic, and with the word really in brackets, because that's convincing. A non-carnivorous couch. And we got 2 of those. A delicious pie. 2 damage and draw a card. We got 2 of those. Probably just dirty socks. Draw 3 cards. We got 2 of those. Actually an empty chest. A potted plant, honest, and you can see like the tongue sticking out. Definitely not a trap. Again, I always like the humor that we have here. Harmless pile of rocks, but you can actually see the face there. Just another coat rack, even though you see like the eye and the tentacle. Completely safe door. I just love these. A book cannot bite, and it's applied dentistry is the name of the book. That's funny. It's not a trap. And you can see again the tongue and the teeth. Definitely just a mirror. And we got 2 of those. So those were the cards that we had there. For Mimi Lachaise, the Mimic character. So, and I just, like I said, I just always loved like the humor that we have in these on these cards. Just always, they always do some pretty clever stuff here. And then the next one we're going to look at is Lord Cinderpuff, the dapper-looking red dragon. So, hit point tracker, and then we're going to look at their mighty powers. So the first one it says deal damage to all opponents. So you deal 1 damage to all opponents. Then you can do 2 damage to 1 opponent, and then 1 damage to a different opponent. So everyone at the table, except for the dragon, of course, will take 1. So if you're playing a 4-player game, when you first use this ability, everyone starts by taking 1. Then you choose one of your opponents and deal an extra 2 to them. So they would be taking 3 total from that. and then you take another one of your opponents, and they would take an additional 1 point of damage, so they'd be taking 2 total. So everyone's taking at least 1, and then one person will be taking 3 total, and one person will be taking 2 total. So it's kind of like the breath weapon there. You get a stack of gold coins. It says discard your hand, and damage equal to the number of cards discarded. So I'm assuming that's what you would deal to someone. And then we have each player must either deal a damage to themselves, heal, or draw a card. Start with you and go to the right, so you get to choose as well. And it says you repeat all the choices. So whoever, if someone chooses to deal damage or take damage, then I guess you double or you repeat that. I'm not quite sure if that means that you would take the damage yourself or if you get to deal it to someone. But if someone chooses to heal, then you can heal. If someone chooses to draw a card, then you can draw a card. So sort of interesting set of abilities there. And we're just going to go through the cards. So we have Evil Sneer. Or sorry, Eviler Sneer. It must be an Evil Sneer somewhere. Oh, I think Evil Sneer was actually one of the Wizards cards from the base game. So this is the Eviler Sneer. We have Peaceful Nap with the dragon laying in bed with just the sacks of gold coins with a U.S. Canadian dollar symbol on them. Investment Opportunity, reading the Worm Street Journal. He's got, let's not forget the monocle. So we got 2 of those. Wisdom of Ages, you draw 2 cards, and the book that he's reading says Make Money, Eat People. Wall of Money, it's a shield card. Mob of Lawyers, which is another shield card. Kobold Maid, that Kobold does not look impressed. We got 2 of those. Ancient Anger, 3 of those. Tooth and Claw for 3 damage. Wing Buffet for 2 damage. Bull Market, which is a financial term. So I guess he's like an investment banker. Murders and Acquisitions instead of Mergers and Acquisitions. Liquidate Assets. And then Hostile Takeover, which is like the breath weapon there. So that is Lord Cinderpuff's cards. Again, just some cool stuff there. And then we're going to get into Hoots Magoots. So this is our Owlbear friend. So his special abilities is you can destroy a shield card and then deal 1 damage for each starting shield card on that card. Each starting shield symbol on that card. So the first time I looked at this, I wasn't quite sure what it meant, and looking at it now, I think what it means is it's the number of shields that are actually printed on the card itself. So if you had, like the Mob of Lawyers had 3 shields on it, so if you played this card and that shield had already taken like a point or 2 points of damage, you would still destroy the card, but instead of just dealing what's left on the shield, you deal its original starting amount. So if you you use this card on Lord Cinderpuff and his Mob of Lawyers, you'd be able to deal 3 damage, regardless of how many points of damage were already dealt to that shield, if that makes any sense. Then we have the Disco Ball. It says each player may do a little dance and then draw a card, and then you get to draw a card for each player who danced, which it's kind of funny. Like the Druid had a card where you're supposed to make an animal sound to go with like playing the card, and I think that's kind of neat. I'm not ever going to do the dance, but it is kind of cool that that's there, and it's fun to have things that have just the players themselves acting a little goofy. And then we have looks like a sword symbol with arrows pointing in all directions, and it says until your next turn your attacks hit all opponents, which again sounds powerful. And I've noticed when I played with Minsk and Jaheira, one of the people that I was playing with thought that they were just going to be inherently better than all the other ones. But this game is really, pretty well balanced. Like I've never seen any one card really have a definitive advantage on all the other ones. So I think even with something like that, it still seems like it's going to be, fairly well balanced. So then we have, for the cards here, we have Send in the Clowns. So Hoots Magoots, our owlbear buddy, is going to be a circus performer by the looks of it. So we got those. Talk to My Agent is a shield card as well. And we got 2 of those. Intermission, we got Hoots eating some peanuts. So you can draw 2 cards off that. Strong as a Bear. Deal 2, heal 1. Wise as an Owl, so he's got his hat on there, and he's got his diploma, so he obviously graduated. Crushing Hug. The Hoots Fan Club, who wouldn't be a member of that club? Made You Look, it's a little sock puppet, wielding a knife. Look Out Below. Very, very fast. I love just the look of determination on his face there. That's just priceless. We got 3, 4 of those. Grand Finale. And then we have, so for my next trick, so this is one of the ones that deals damage to everyone. And deals 1 damage, and you get to play another card. Owlbear Boogie. So this is the one where you can do the dance. And then to the face, and he's actually throwing the Kobold Maid, which I think is kind of funny. So, yeah, so I feel like I'm kind of right about this. So, Hoots Magoots does have, you know, that card that lets him damage everybody. And while he does have a fair number of cards that let you have, like, the Lightning Bolt that let you play another card, he is the first character that I've come across that doesn't have a card that has the 2 lightning bolts on it to let you play 2 cards. So you're still, you know, you're not going to be dropping, you know, all of your high damage dealing cards. It also looks like he doesn't have, oh no, he does. He has ones that deal 3 damage. But just the fact that he doesn't have that 2 action card is something that can mitigate the damage. So he can, you know, and most of the cards that he has that let him play another one don't actually deal damage. So there's, you know, there are some that do, but you'd have to have a pretty stacked hand in order to do it. So that's sort of the balancing force there, is it limits the amount of how many extra cards you can play at any one time. So he doesn't have that double bonus card like everyone else does. All right, up next we have Dr. Tentaculus, our Mind Flayer. So, not sure I like the brown color for the cards. I feel like purple would have been better for him, but we already had that with the thief, unfortunately. But I don't know. So Mighty Powers. So you swap your hand with an opponent's hand. The next one is add the top card of each opponent's discard pile to your hand. So that's pretty cool. And then you got this brain symbol here. It says damage each opponent once for every card they have in their hand, to a maximum of 5. So there's no limit to the amount of cards you can hold on to at any given time. But if you're playing against this guy, the more cards you have in your hand, the more of a liability that it is. Oh, sorry, it's an opponent. It's not each opponent. An opponent. I don't know if I said each or not, but I just want to make sure that I do clarify. It's just a single person, so you just target whoever has the most cards in their hand, but again, you can only do up to 5. Alright, his cards, we got Receptionist, who does not look super competent at their job. Enthralled Thrall, the Drooling Dwarf, just acts as a shield. Just a Nibble, and you see he's got like the giant like lobster, you know, the shell cracker sort of thing. He's got his little bib on with a brain on it, symbol of a brain. Puppet Therapy. Look at those. Relax after work. He's just holding up a brain. Diagnosis Evil. Love that. Super Ego Whip, which is his 3 damage card. But he is refined, he is classy, so he does like to sip tea, which heals 2 and lets him draw a card. Id Insinuation, which is actually a Sonic power from like the 3rd edition days, which I'd love to see Sonics make a proper comeback. Ego Whip, get 2 of those. PhD in psychology. He's got his diplomas on the wall there and a little brain in a jar. Mind Blast, which makes sense for that to be the one that they went with there. Tell me about your mother. So this is the, like he's a psychiatrist. And then Mind Games, where you swap with another player. So again, just love the artwork, love the jokes, love the humor that they have on the on all of these. Like just always just so fun to look at and deal with. So now we have Delilah Death Ray, our fashionista beholder. And her special ability, so if you have the one with the giant star on it, each opponent can choose to praise your greatness. And if people don't, the ones who don't praise your greatness, take 2 damage. So again, it's one of those things that you affect the way that the players have to act at the table, which is kind of cool. Then you have what looks like sort of like the rainbow beam or rainbow paper airplane. I'm not quite sure what that's supposed to look like, but it says until your next turn, choose the target of all damage cards, so not just yours, anyone's. And then you have the little little skull inside the green symbol there. So 2 damage to each opponent with no shield cards in play, and then you destroy all shield cards. So that's kind of neat. Alright, and we're going to start off with the Praise Me. So it has the star there, she gets to draw cards. So you draw 3 cards, and whoever doesn't praise your greatness takes 2 damage. We got 2 of those. Charm Ray, I did already look through her deck and Blorp's deck, so this is probably why it's out of order compared to everything else. But we have Charm Ray, so this is until your next turn, choose the target of all the damage cards. And I just love like the elf there with the hearts in his eyes. Just fantastic stuff. And then we have her Death Ray, so 2 damage to each opponent with no shield cards in play, and then you destroy all the shields on the field. There's 3 of those. Then we got Raise for Days, which is the 2 action card that I was talking about earlier. Beauty Barrage, so she's applying lipstick and checking herself out in a mirror while shooting eye rays out from her other eye stalks. Cuter Than You. Draw 2. The Fashion Police. So she 3 shield card. Now when something says it destroys all shield cards in play, it destroys all shield cards in play, including your own, so that's important to know. And then we have Double Trouble. She looks a little perturbed there. Got 2 of those. Mirror Mirror, which is just another shield card. The Tyranny of Beauty. So deal 1 damage, heal 1, and play another card. The only thing that I like the art here. Oh, I didn't even notice. I like the art here, but I kind of wish that the sunglasses were just a single lens. But I just realized that all of her eye stalks are also wearing sunglasses, and it kind of feels like the Deal With It sunglasses. So it works, I guess. But yeah, it would have made more sense if they were just a single lens. But the fact that they're actually on all of the eye rays as well is kind of hilarious. And then we have Multitask. So she's grooming her eyelashes, looking at herself in the mirror, and disintegrating someone. So very, very good stuff there. Me, Myself, and I, where she's just looking at herself in all these different mirrors. Make It Work, using her telekinetic ray to cut some fabric. And then we got Laser Show, which is pinging her eye ray off of a disco ball, actually. So a little bit of thematic cohesion there with Hoots Magoots. So that's hers. And then we're going to get into Blorp's, who is hands down my absolute favorite character. And Beholders are my favorite monster, but Blorp is just awesome. So his special abilities. So you destroy a shield card and then heal for each shield on that card. Starting shield, it should say. It does say. So again, even if the shield is damaged, you heal how much was printed on the card, not how much was left on it. You got another like broken shield symbol here with the sword going through it and the purple sort of star splash in the background. It says this turn, your cards ignore shield cards. And then you have the little acid bones there across. It says when this card is destroyed, deal 2 damage. So that is probably on a, well, not probably, it is on, it should be on a shield card. So we'll just go through here, and so we'll start with Hugs. So you got the little gnome inside of him there. So just destroy shield card and then heal. So that's that one. We got 2 of those. Then we got the Here I Come, which ignores the shields and deals 3. And you see him like, he looks so happy as he's about to engulf this terrified looking gnome. And then we have Burped Up Bones, which is our 3 shields, and when it's destroyed, it deals 2 damage. So we got that. We have Former Friends, where he's still hugging the bones of the poor gnome, so they haven't been burped up quite yet. Then we have Slime Time, which lets him deal 2 extra attacks. Combat Cubed, and this is like the gnome actually pops up and uses Slingshot, which I just think is fantastic. Then we have the D6 of Doom with the skulls on there as little pips, and he looks so maniacal in that. As cute as he is in all the other artwork, that one is actually kind of scary. The Fastest Cube Alive, he's like the gnome's legs are sticking out, and he's the one doing the running. There are 3 of those. Then we have Sugar Rush, which that's also kind of terrifying. Lets you draw 2 more cards. Acid Burp. Deal 1, play another card. Open Wide, draw 2 and play another card. Arcane Appetizer, he's actually got the wizard from the first set absorbed into him there. And then we have Cleric a la Slime, so deal 2 and heal 1. And then we have, this one makes me sad. It says cubes have feelings too, and it's Blorp crying while the gnome is like emerging from him to give him a hug. It's sad. I don't want Blorp to be sad. So that was the Dungeon Mayhem Monster Madness pack. So those were all the new characters that come there, and overall, this has always been, like, I've always loved Dungeon Mayhem from the moment that I first picked up the original set. It's a great game. It plays really fast. It's easy to learn, and like it's for ages 8+. My 11-year-old daughter, she absolutely loves this game, so it's absolutely fantastic. I definitely recommend picking this up if you haven't already, and just pick up all the sets if you haven't already, because it's a game that is a ton of fun, and the new 5 and 6 player rules I think are also kind of great. I do like the idea of the zone of influence, just so that because I know that I've played games where it was less than 5 players, it was a 4-player game, but I know what it's like to get ganged up on by everybody else at the table, and it's not fun. It's not fun to be knocked out on the first turn, just because every other player just dumps their highest attack damage cards on you. So I like that ability quite a bit. And overall, this is just a wonderful product. The Monster Madness is great because it gives you one box to put everything in, which is just so useful. Just to have everything right there. The dividers are fantastic. The fact that they are actually designed specifically for the characters from the other sets is great. I love the detail of having the characters back on the back of the divider. That's one of those little attention to detail things that they didn't have to do. The back side of it could have just been completely just the coloration of the card itself or the divider itself and nothing else, and it would have been fine. But that extra little detail is so wonderful. The little box to store all of the damage tokens and hit point trackers and stuff in there, again, is just a nice little organizational thing that just makes this set so worth it. So definitely check this out. I do want to thank Wizards of the Coast for sending this to me for the purposes of doing this review, and my review is that this is an amazing game. It's a ton of fun. Everyone that I've played this with has absolutely loved it, and if you haven't checked it out already, you definitely should. If you have the base game and and that was all that you had, this is something that you should definitely pick up. All the expansions, I think, are worth picking up, but this is just such a fantastic product. I can't say enough good things about how much I love this game. The artwork is great. The jokes are fantastic. I love the humor incorporated into them, and this is just overall a very, very fantastic package. Wizards of the Coast did not have to make this kind of box. They could have just had it with all the just the new characters and nothing else, and it would have been perfectly fine. But they went above and beyond with this, and I think that deserves to be recognized. So, wonderful set, fantastic cards. I think it's going to be a ton of fun to play with these new cards, with these new characters. I think it's just going to be absolutely great, and it's an awesome game overall. So check it out if you haven't already. So thanks again to them for sending this to me for the purposes of doing this review video. I can't say enough good things about this. So let me know in the comments below if you guys have played or if you picked up or are going to pick up the Monster Madness set. If you're watching this after release, let me know if you picked it up and what your thoughts were and how the games went for you. If you used the 5-6 player rules, let me know how that went for you as well. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. Take care.